And good morning, everyone. It is December the 1/5, December 15th, 10 days to go. Wow. Christmas 2020 is going to happen beyond belief of whatever has happened this year. And it has been a year to remember. I mean, for me, I've been under lockup literally since March 15th, 16th. Yet the year happened, I think. Spring came, summer came, fall has happened. Snow yesterday, but they say that it will be melted again before Christmas, and then we might get some more again for Christmas. I'm not just sure how it's all going to go. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is. So just want to invite everyone to CHAT CANNA for this Tuesday. We're counting down the days till the next year. And no matter how this goes, this year is going to go down in the books as a marker. Just like I know for my parents, a marker was when my father came home from the war or when the war was declared ended in World War II. I know that, of course, 9/11 is a marker in time, before 9/11, after 9/11. And I know that this is going to be a marker. Maybe yesterday is going to be the day, because that was when the first Americans were given the shot. But whenever the time, or maybe it's just going to be this year, but it certainly is going to be a marker in time that people will talk about for 100 years, if not more. So also today, some exciting news that has come out in the cannabinoid world, in CBD. And we are bringing that to you because that's what we do here on CHAT CANNA. And we are so happy that you are here and joining us. A little bit of Christmas festivity behind us. And we thank Upsplash. We have a license to go commercial with all the pictures on Upsplash, but you can take them and use them for any of your fun stuff that you do on the internet. It's a free license, and the people are just wonderful. They are just really neat. And they have a million bajillion pictures that you can take and use, and they are all of super high quality. That is not my Christmas tree. We have a beautiful tree up, though, in our house. So this is where we are. Today, two stories for you. Two, I think, pretty interesting stories for you. The big story that we'll cover in just a little bit is that CBD oil and CBG oil, we'll divide those up, have been shown to be incredible antibacterial agents. One, using them on fresh fruit, particularly strawberries, because you can bring strawberries home from the market, you can rinse them a little bit and put them in your refrigerator, and 3 days later, you got a penicillin factory growing in there, and you just don't want that. Well, how do you stop that? Well, we got a great story for you about that. A great story for you about that. But our first story today is also, we sing it once in a while, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. And I think that my mother used nothing but Folgers from the time that I remember, coffee in the kitchen. My bedroom was next to the kitchen. It's my bedroom, the dining room, and then the kitchen. And so I would wake up to frying. My mom made my dad a hearty breakfast every morning, and once deer hunting was over, there was venison sausage frying many, many mornings. And I would wake up both to the sound and the smell of that. And I would hear the toaster popping up and the smell of coffee in the percolator, because she had the standard kitchen percolator that was in all of the farm kitchens around here that I know of. I think there was only one brand. It was before the colored ones came out. Then, there was the yellow, the bird poo yellow one that came out, and some other ones some years into my youth. But originally, they were all stainless steel. They all looked the same. Every mother had them. And we went to visit other mothers. The coffee was always on, and then they would shake it a little bit and say, "Oh, this is old. Let me make a fresh pot." And there was always something good to eat, and some good news stories were passed around. It was an interesting time. I think it was what the internet is now, is what visiting was then. Aunt Barb would come down, and Aunt Barb smoked cigarettes. She only needed one match in the morning. The rest of them were all lit from one cigarette to the other. But ironically, that is not what took her away from the earth. She did die from something else. I miss her. She was just a mile down the road, and she would bring her laptop over. I told her, Auntie Barb, buy a laptop, because if you have a problem with it, you can just fold it up and come down the road and I can fix it. The first computer they had was a desktop, and I just didn't like to drive over there and get down on my hands and knees to fix it every time. Buy a laptop. So she did. She went to a couple of them before she passed away. And just before she passed away, actually, she brought one down for me to fix. And she stayed a while, and we had some great and wonderful talks. And then I went to Europe, and she happened to pass away while I was in Europe. But I will always remember those wonderful moments that we had that last night when I was fixing her laptop. Anyway, coffee. Everywhere there was coffee. Now, consumers have interest in CBD in all sorts of ways and methods. And companies are looking at, the best part of waking up is a little bit of CBD in your cup. 70% of the U.S. adult population consumes coffee in some form. 14% of regular ground coffee drinkers are interested in a CBD-infused coffee claim. Matter of fact, they say they've already tried it. According to Nielsen, that big TV study, they do all sorts of studies. They stop you in malls, they drive by your house to see what TV you have on, everything like that. So there's a whole giant market out there yet of 86% of the people who have not tried CBD in their coffee yet. And there are companies that are now trying to push it, both in single serving coffee pods and cold brew beverages, like that's Starbucks started. I have a lady friend in Chicago that is hooked on those, I think they're Frappuccinos that you buy in a 4-pack with Starbucks label on them. Now, you just saw that my face lit up there. Nothing changed in the room. The lighting that I have around me did not change. And yet, now it's going darker again. I don't know what's causing that. We've switched out cameras. I'm now on an actual expensive video camera. So it's got to be something in the computer that's changing because it doesn't matter what camera I have out on the end. Anyway, back to coffee. They're talking about using CBD-infused ground coffee, or even having it put on whole bean coffee that the consumer would actually grind. And it seems to be getting a good result. Now, there's one company out there. Let's get down to what their name is here. It starts with a V. Vera has been using resveratrol. Do you know what resveratrol is? That is the essence of red wine that's supposed to have the anti-inflammatory and all the other little ingredients of red wine that's supposed to give you a long and happy life. They're extracting that out of red wine and putting it in coffee. Kind of coffee's bad, this is good, so you come out even kind of a thing. And they claim that they have, if they can get you to taste their coffee, they have a high chance of getting you as a customer. If they get you as a customer, they claim that they have a high chance of keeping you as a customer. And that's pretty cool, right? I mean, that's a neat thing. So if they can do that, why not then come out with a CBD laced? Does lace sound too much like a drug term? CBD additive to coffee that will do something on that front. And so that's where they are trying to go, because they think they already have a giant customer base that is open to the fact of a coffee with something added to it. And so they are going to try and push it and see where they can go. But you should be seeing in the next 12 months on your regular shelf the ability to buy coffee, whether it's in pods, one users, throwaways, or other kinds of coffee that you might buy, even down to beans that have not yet been ground, you should be able to buy coffee that has CBD with it. So you can both have a pick-me-up and a calming influence at the same time. I guess it'd be better in decaf, right? Because no upper along with double calming. So however you might like it, there is where it is, and that's how you've got it with the CBD and coffee. Coming soon to a store near you. Now, the second story for today, a big story, I think. I think this is a big story. This is a could because it's a study. Remember, we talk about studies. And studies don't really become science until they're repeated by another study and another study and another study. And then when you collectively bring the studies together, scientists can say, yes, we now believe that that is the pretty well accepted truth. So nope, we've got him trained to not come over here. Ace is becoming a good, well-trained cat. So here's the headline: CBD could be a useful antimicrobial treatment for fresh produce. The University of South Florida's Food Quality Laboratory has published in the Journal of Post-Harvest Biology and Technology. Researchers applied CBD oil to fresh fruit immediately after harvest. Here was their method. The fruit came in, they sprayed it on, they put it in storage at 1 degree centigrade, so right above freezing. That's how the produce is shipped to you. And they kept it there for 8 days. So that's like the shipping time, right? Then they put it at 10 degrees Celsius, so that's about 50 degrees, for another 8 days. That's like in the store and in your refrigerator. Get the thing there? So 8 days at 1 degree, because that's the shipping and getting it to the store. And then 10 degrees Celsius, that's like in the store and in your home for 8 days. So altogether, we're talking more than 2 weeks, 2 weeks and 2 days. Here's the big news. The strawberries that were treated with CBD were evaluated for their visual quality and their microbial load before, during storage, and then right up to the end of the program. And they were rated based on how they looked. Here's the results. The CBD oil was effective at maintaining the visual appearance of the strawberries above the minimum threshold of a visual rating score of 3. Now, I'm guessing they rated them on what, a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10? But the important thing was that their idea of being able to have it in the store and then having it at home, and so that you'll go to the fridge and, I imagine there was some flaws and stuff where you'd throw out a couple of them, but you'd still serve them to your family. That must have been a score of 3 compared to the fruit that was not treated. The oil inhibited yeast and mold in the fruit, and the treated strawberries had better overall quality compared to non-treated fruit. Boy, I find that incredibly interesting. That's just interesting beyond measure to me. I wonder what it would be to take some CBD oil and put it in a little bottle and have it in a spray bottle at your house and treat your strawberries when you get them at home. And I mean, just very lightly. I don't know what the thing to do. Would you use water? Would you use distilled water? Would you use a citrus water? You'd have to try it, because you wouldn't want to use pure CBD oil. That would be enough to leave a flavor on the strawberries. And I want pure strawberries. Other studies have suggested that CBD is a powerful antimicrobial. Australian researchers in June found that cannabinoid, that's CBD, we're going to talk about some different cannabis here in a minute, killed all the strains of bacteria, including those that are highly resistant to existing antibiotics. They were effective at treating a skin infection in mice. Here's the big kicker on their study, and there's going to be more on this. The bacteria did not become resistant to the CBD, even after being exposed to it for 20 days. Why is that important? That's the period when bacteria generally can change themselves enough to become antibiotic resistant. That's how much time they need to figure out a way to change their mutating and get around what's being applied to them. The bacteria did not become resistant to the CBD even after being exposed to it for 20 days. The next paragraph that I want to read to you is explosive in my mind. This is going to be the biggest game changer and might be the whole reason why CBD has been coming to us and how it's going to change the world. In southern Democrat, I did not say that. In southern Denmark, a study there published in Mark used CBD as a helper compound to enhance, and I got to read this because I want to be really accurate, to enhance the effect of the antibiotic Bactrin, Bactracin, against a staph infection. When the researchers combined CBD with antibiotics, they saw a more powerful effect than when treating with antibiotics alone in order to kill a certain number of bacteria that needed antibiotics. Now, here's the one. A study published in February found another cannabinoid, cannabigerol, or CBG. Now, CBG is the one that's found way less in the hemp plant. You're going to get a fraction of that out of an acre of hemp as opposed to CBD. But listen to this. This is the phrase of the day. It was capable of treating and defeating the family of bacteria known as methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA. MRSA is the bacteria, is the disease that sweeps through hospitals sometimes, and we have hardly any defense against it. A study published in February found another cannabinoid, cannabigerol, CBG, was capable of treating and defeating the family of bacteria that is known as MRSA. This is huge, folks. And you got to know that the big universities, the Mayo clinics around the world are jumping on this. Because to have something when a patient, it's one of those things that we cured the patient, but they died anyway happens. That's often because of MRSA. They finally got what was hurting the patient under control, but in the meantime, these bacteria got in there and the patient died from that. It's kind of what's happening with the big disease that's going on now. And you always hear me referring to that in kind of the third world or the third thing. Everything that we put up on the internet gets run through an immediate scanner, and any reference to what's going on gets tagged, and it gets thrown out for any ability to make any money on it with ads or anything. Isn't that crazy? Because there are some people that don't believe it's real. It's a political thing, so we can't talk about it directly, but you know what I'm talking about. But we can talk about MRSA. We can talk about bacteria. We can talk about needing less antibiotics when you use CBD products. The question is, if I'm taking CBD oils and full spectrum things on a regular basis, does that help me guard against getting some of these things? We don't know. But one of the things that has been very well proven is that taking CBD products, not in a mega dose, but in a generally agreed on regular dose, does not hurt you. And there just seems to be more and more evidence coming out every day that it does help you. So that's where I'm going to leave you today with this Tuesday, December 15th version of Chat Canna. Get your last cards written, get your last presents ordered, get them in the mail so that the post office and our friends at UPS and FedEx are not completely overwhelmed. I know the deliveries came to the church on Sunday. Those guys are out working 7 days a week right now. Let's at least try to average out their load for them so they are not overwhelmed, and give them a break where they're driving and they're turning or they're just going down the road. Just try and back off. Give them the whole highway, because no matter what, there's not enough coffee in the world to stay awake during this time for them, and We thank them for their service. We thank all of the workers in the hospital, and we hope that we can get a shot to them as soon as we can so that they are more secure in the fact that they can stay healthy as they're helping the rest of us. Chat Canna for today. We'll see you all tomorrow. In the meantime, have yourself a great and safe 24 hours. And, well, say goodbye to Ace. He's right here.